Have you ever went into a movie thinking to yourself that you knew what was going to be happening, and then just pulling a complete 180 on you? That's what I just experienced. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam. Welcome back to my Villeneuve series, where I'm going to be reviewing every Denis Villeneuve movie from Polytechnic through Blade Runner 2049 in honor of Dune 2021 coming out this October. If you'd like to check out my Polytechnic review, it'll be linked in the eye in the right hand corner. But today, I'm going to be talking about Incendies. And yeah, I was not prepared. This movie tells the story of a pair of siblings named Jeanne and Simone, played by actors who I'm not even going to try and pronounce their names, so I'll just put their names in the lower third, because I know if I try to pronounce them, I'm going to butcher them. But these siblings learn that their mother has passed away, and in their mother's last will and testament, they receive two envelopes. One envelope is to the father that they never knew, and to the brother that they never knew that they had. Their mother has led a very troubled life, and so she has a very odd set of last wishes, including being positioned a certain way when she is buried, having no headstone, and many other odd requests. However, in her will, she states that if her children follow through on taking these letters to their father and brother respectively, then they can have a normal burial. Simone wants nothing to do with this because he had a very difficult relationship with her mom, and he basically calls her a bowl of fruits and nuts and walks away. However, Jeanne is very intrigued and so travels down the rabbit hole of her mother's past, as do we. And we learn that her mother, like I said, had a very troubled life with many, many bumps in the road. Bumps that are roughly about the size of the moon. The only thing that I really knew about Incendies was two things. It was nominated for Best Foreign Film at the Academy Awards, and it was loved by everybody. Every review that I read just had glowing praise for this movie. So, of course, I was very excited for it. And as I said, I was not prepared. Denis Villeneuve makes very dark movies. That's putting it in about as good a way as possible. Even some of his more straightforward movies have a hard edge to them. You don't go into a Denis Villeneuve movie for light viewing. You have to know exactly what you're getting into before you sit down and watch it. Well, that goes double for Incendies. I cannot talk about this movie without talking about the plot twist. So I'm going to talk about that a little later in the review. That will be a definitive spoiler section. I'll give plenty of warning, and if you all want to skip past that, you more than certainly can. However, this video will be talking about the twist, though it will be notated saying, hey, this is the spoiler section, and, well, you know. On the whole, though, I loved this movie. I thought there was so much to love about it. Firstly, I gotta give my props to the cinematography, because this movie looks absolutely gorgeous. This movie cost $6.5 million to make. It looks twice that. By now, Villeneuve's visual storytelling beats are absolutely on point, and are even better than in Polytechnic. There are several scenes that almost feel like there's no sound at all, and yet you know exactly what's going down. The movie bounces back and forth between two timelines. The first being the twins' mother and her whole journey, and Jeanne's journey re-exploring and retracing her mother's steps. And without much dialogue or saying, hey, we're in the past now, the movie does a great job of showing that, hey, we're in the past, or hey, we're in the present. Also, the acting is plain excellent as well. Again, I'm not going to try and pronounce any names here because I will screw it up. so I'll just put names in lower thirds when I bring it up. But my three favorite actors were the actors who played the mother, Gian, and Simone. The mother honestly deserved to be nominated for an Oscar because, wow, there were several scenes where she didn't break my heart, she shattered my heart. The mother is basically handicapped in her life from nearly the very beginning. By the time she reaches of a normal age or the age of adulthood, it's basically like she's SOL from the very beginning, and she has to make it all work during a time when she's living in the Middle East, during a time of civil war, essentially, between Christians and what I believe Muslims. There is a heartbreaking scene where there are Christian fighters who stop a bus where the mother is on, and they kill everyone on this bus and set the bus on fire. The only survivor is a little girl and the mother has to witness this bus just on fire. It's a harrowing shot. Things get exponentially worse when she goes to the prison, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But let's just say that the mother's plot arc makes all of Prisoners look like a Hallmark movie. And then there are the twins, Gian and Simone. Gian is just an incredible actor. Like, again, I'm not even going to try and pronounce her name, but she just pulled a fantastic performance. I'll talk more about one certain moment in the spoiler section, but she deserves a lot more work, and I hope that she gets it sometime. And I also loved the actor who played Simone. I thought he was really good as well. He's not in the movie as much, but he starts out with the whole, forget my mother, she was never there for me. But then, as curiosity starts to get to him, he's more into it, and when he starts getting into it, it's like the only way out is through. And I guess there's really no point in delaying it any longer. I'm going to be talking about the plot twist. Spoiler warning, if you want to go into this movie completely blind, and I suggest you do, then skip to this time code for my final thoughts. The big crux of this movie is the mystery of the twins' mother and their brother and their father. Who could they be? Because of the whole Civil War thing, a lot of records were destroyed, so it's basically like trying to find a needle in a fairly large haystack. Through a nurse that they meet who worked at the prison where their mother was imprisoned, I believe it's called the Kafir Riyat prison, they learned that their mother was imprisoned, of course, and assaulted, you know the type that I mean, over and over and over and over and over again by a torture specialist. This was done because she would not stop singing, and so I guess to shut her up, they would assault her again and again, but she wouldn't stop. And then Simone gets approached by these two gentlemen in suits who knew the person who was the commanding officer over Abu Turek. And so Simone is taken there. He's asked, what do they want? What does he want from this? And he's like, my mother's dead. I just want to know who my father is. And so the general walks in and tells him, to make a long story short, how this little boy was found at an orphanage. His name was Nihad. Nihad was trained as a soldier, and a fairly sinister one at that, but then was taken to the other side and was converted to their side, and was trained to be a torture specialist, and took on the assumed name Abu Turek. If you're keeping score at home, that means that Gian and Simone's father and brother are the same person. I'll give you all a minute to let that sink in. It's rare that I do this, but when this bombshell dropped, I actually had to rewind the movie to make sure that I heard it right, because I didn't want to misunderstand anything. I wanted to make sure that I heard what I heard correctly. And to my everlasting shock, I did. My heart sank to my feet. I couldn't see myself, but I was white as a sheet. The very next scene, Simone, in shock, is sitting in the twins' hotel room, and Jian's like, "What's wrong?" And Simon is like, 1 + 1 = 2, right? So what happens when 1 + 1 = 1? And Jian's like, "Simone, what are you talking about?" And Simone's like, "What happens when 1 + 1 = 1? And the moment when Jian gasps is legit some of the most haunting stuff I've seen in all my years of watching movies. And I know the weight of which I say this, but it is the truth. I have been lucky to see a lot of great performances in movies, stage, and so on and so forth. From Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood to smaller roles and everything in between. Some of the finest acting was in this brief little window of when Jian is thinking to herself, connecting the dots, and then she gasps. I can't even do it justice, but it's basically and it's so quick and sudden that if you're not paying attention, you're just like, what happened? And as soon as she gasps, she puts her head in her hands and realizes the gravity of the situation. The ending of the movie is the twins finding their father/brother, giving them the letters, and the letters, as it turns out, were to Abu Tarek and Nihad. So one was very rough and just generally one big screw you, and yeah, understandable. And then the other letter was a loving letter to the son that she never knew. It's honestly quite heartbreaking, but it plays into Denis Villeneuve's school of filmmaking. It doesn't matter how dark you get, as long as you offer a kernel of hope, then it balances itself out somewhat. At the end of the day, Incendies is one of those movies that I recommend that everybody watch, but be careful as to what you are about to witness. Just be ready, because this is one of those movies where it's like you need to do full mental and physical preparation in order to sit through. I have no idea if this is Denis Villeneuve's masterpiece. I still think that's Arrival. However, this is pretty close. I made it. That is all from me. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Next time on the Villeneuve series, I'm going to be covering the movie that formally introduced me to Denis Villeneuve as a filmmaker, 2013's Prisoners. And because I've been going through a lot of pain with these movies recently, I decided to bring in some backup. And so I'm going to be bringing in a good friend of mine, Jacob Martin, to help talk about this movie with me. This video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.